Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again with another Market Watch Investments video for you guys. Today, of course, we look through the fine print and we go for some more intermediate class investments is the goal of the day here. I have a special guest today, one of my favorite people from Japan. I lived in Japan for 2 years, and I have one of my best Japanese friends, Ayaka. She is currently here in Japan, and I just really wanted to bring her on the show and showcase her for a while. Every once in a while, be a special little treat for this channel. So, 彩香様、今は日本では、少し寒い、まだ寒い、あそこは。今、今日本では、たくさん日本人は、遊戯王カードゲームわかりましたか？と、と、と、でも今まで、八戸は雪がありますか？まだないまだない。はい。はい、わかりましたか？今日の映画、本当にありがとうございます。彩香様の助けて本当にありがとうございます。So it's been a while since I lived in Japan, so I apologize. If there's any viewers out there that are Japanese that speak the language, my Japanese is terrible, but it is something that I'm currently working at. So moving on with the market here, I wanted to quickly inflect on Zodiac. So I know Tribe Gabe is out there, people going nuts over it. People are focusing a lot on the influctuations for Thoroughblade, obviously the Ultimates of Whiptail, and Cacanane also, which is just a solo print, just going crazy. I think people are neglecting Barrage, the original OG first edition secrets of Dryden and Barrage, which I'm personally holding because they're just at price points that I'm not personally comfortable with selling at right now. But one thing people are definitely not considering, which I think is very interesting, is the versions of Borobo and Zodiac Combo. These cards are really insane. I spent hours, like literally hours today, going through my common and rare boxes just to pull these to list these because these are not in huge supply and they're incredibly cheap. It's very very cheap. But if you're like me and I just bought the special edition sets of these like crazy, I had so many of these, just stacks of these to just sell away. And right now, Borobo is going for about 3 bones. So I think this is really really good. Again, like this is like that like lower class investment that no one's really talking about. People are talking about the big cards, but these like almost like penny stocks to say markets right here that you can kind of see. You can just list them off for a couple dollars, and it's really just chump change. As long as there's a buyer's market, of course. There's only 2 pages here on the market, so these are the kind of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the things that people aren't really talking about. I don't personally know any YouTubers that are mentioning Borobo or Combo. Again, they're just like these lower rarity, lower class cards that no one's really talking about that, tons of people I'm sure have tons of that they can just influx on the market, make a couple bones here and there. I personally, again, listed several myself, and I think it's just a quick way to kind of just burn off some extra cards you have and kind of play into the hype that has been going into Zodiac as well. Same thing with Combo. Combo here is going for like $1 right here. Me personally, I have the unlimited original ones from Raging Tempest. Another one I wanted to talk about would be eventually Whiptail for the super rares. I know the ultimate rares, like a lot of like pretty big fat price points right now, but eventually when the ultimate rares get bought out or people don't want to drop the fat cash for the ultimate rares, I still think that eventually the original first edition super rares are going to be worth a couple bones, which me personally, I have several of them, just like Rappeteer. And these, again, Whiptail and Rappeteer only have 2 prints. Rappeteer with the original Raging Tempest and 2017 Megatons. Whiptail, well, I guess technically Whiptail has 3 because it has the original rate, 2017 Megatons, and of course the ultimate rare. This is Combo right here, though. So again, you'll notice that you can just push off for $1 for this card. So I mean, it's pretty incredible. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there. That's just to say, blending in with Zodiacs. Next is going to be, of course, Insectors. Insectors, they won the competition for the structure deck or whatever it may be, and they've not skyrocketed in price points. I mean, Insector was like around 20 for like the longest time, or it got up to 20. Now it's dwindling down. A Soul Print super rare from Order of Chaos. Everyone kind of knows about this. One thing I wanted to talk about was the highest rarity of Centipede, which is about 3 bones now, which is pretty good because I mean it was like $1 for the longest time. It's not quite there yet. I think we can wait a little bit more. I think when this card gets to around 4 or 5, I personally have several copies of this. I think that'd be a really good way to push it off. It's not quite there yet. It's not quite at that price point that I would really feel comfortable letting the card go with. I apologize. Internet's being really slow right now. But anyway, it's not quite there yet. You know, it's around 3. It's almost at 4. It's borderlining 4, depending on how you crack down shipping and everything. And when you start to get to the fatter stacks, so it's almost there. I'd probably say 5 bones is like a good price point to push this off personally. Another thing for Insectors is going to be the rares. More specifically, and again, this is something I want to focus on because no one's really talking about the smaller players in this market, which is going to be Hopper and Dragonfly. If I'm not mistaken, Dragonfly is still a solo print and is still a major combo piece of this deck core. And no one's talking about it right now, and it's still very, very cheap. Hopper, again, that's kind of like a one-of that was like kind of used every once in a while. It's not really a big deal. But Dragonfly is very much part of the core engine of this deck, and it's still like it's about 25 cents. It's still very, very cheap, but again, it's just one of those cards. I think eventually it's going to go up to a couple dollars, especially maybe even higher, seeing how it's a solo print or old set. So I would definitely take a look at bulking on your Dragonflies, and for they're dirt cheap right now, and then you can put them off eventually for a couple bones. Again, this internet is just like really terrible right now. I don't know what's going on with it, but Hopper right here. I'm pretty sure this is a soul print too as a rare, and then of course Dragonfly, which I'm pretty sure to this day is still a soul print. So that's the biggest thing playing off those specifically. So that is what I would focus on more specifically as far as it comes for Insectors. And again, there's Hype Alone from the structure deck or whatever the competition was that they won. And it's just an all-around fan favorite deck, I think, and it's a fun deck to play. It's a really great part of history. Next is going to be the super rare versions of Upstart Goblin from Secret Slayers. This is an amazing card. I've been talking about this since the dawning of Secret Slayers. This isn't a super old set or anything. This card's at 1. It's been at 1 forever. Does it have potential to come to 2 or 3? Yes, I totally think it does. When? I'm not sure. Of course, it has the Legendary Collection's Ultra Rares, which are a couple dollars more than this, which look pretty great too. But I still very, very much believe in this card. I think that this card has potential whenever it comes off the list or even still at 1. I don't know why anyone wouldn't at least run one of these. Giving your opponent 1,000 life points for a 1 draw, making your 40 card deck into a 39 deck, or potentially a 37 deck, depending how far this gets lifted off the list. It's still ranging around the same price point. It's around $2-3 if you factor in shipping, so it's slowly starting to trickle up. Not really a bunch of fat stacks here. The 18 stack here for 225 is the first stack we see here. 5+ on the pages, so plenty on the availability. But I just really believe in this card again, and it's just it's so much cheaper than I think it's the Turbo Pack Super Rare, but looks just as nice, if not nicer, because it has the updating foiling here on the actual spell attribute here with the new foiling. Next is going to be Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. I know I hammered hard on the Ghost Girls. These are a two-pronged attack, though, because they come inside of the meta. This isn't necessarily the most popular hand trap Ghost Girl, but it is really, really amazing, especially for artwork. And the biggest thing is you can go through like meta relevance if this ever comes back into the meta. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But the artwork is uncanny. It's beautifully aesthetically pleasing. It's the high rarity of secret rare. Shining Victories has great history on its own merit alone. It's a transition set. This is the set that we started getting super rare hollow foils in every booster pack, and they changed the ratios. It was a really, really big deal. Or was it Breakers Shadows? I think it might have been Breakers of Shadows. But anyway, it was right around the transition period. Breakers Shadows, Shining Victories, when they took ultimate rares and ghosts out of the core sets, and we started getting super rares in every pack, and just really rich part of Yu-Gi-Oh history in general. But really great stuff. Ayaka-sama, 僕のコンピューター見ましたか？そのカードは、そのカードの女の子かわいいね。髪、紫。紫、ピンクどっち？多分ピンク、少しもピンク。 So really great stuff. So I'm just fanatical. People think I'm probably a little nutty because I'm all over the hand trap girls, specifically for the original Secret Rare first. I mean, talking about Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, whatever it may be. These are just very much, if not already, bleeding into the collector's market. This is one of the slower cards because it's not as used as much as the other Ghost Girls, and the other ones are a lot more newer. But again, very great on its own merit alone. And it's slowly starting to trickle up here. We're struggling to find some first edition prints. Not that long ago, first edition prints were going for around $4 or $5. Looks like they've already jumped up to about 8+ here for the starting market price. So it's up to you guys. I mean, it's definitely starting to get to some uncomfortable price points. I mean, I've definitely picked up several. 5 is the perfect range. Anytime this card hits 5 or under, again, specifically only for the original first editions from Shining Victories, I think this is a fantastic investment. Next is going to be the original print of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. The infamy behind this card, the history, the playability is so great. Of course, it had an amazing Secret Rare reprint with the updated foiling here in the first generation of Battles Legends, Light's Revenge. Amazing. But for collector's value, I would definitely want to talk about the original OG print out of Shining Victories. Again, this is a huge game changer card, has really rich status and state in the history of the game. And for the longest time, like, this card just reigned supreme. It's got really great history behind it, and it was really expensive. I mean, you go back, talk about uh, uh, Dark Arm Dragon, you talk about Judgment Dragon, you talk about all these old school Secret Rare cards that just had great predominance and great history behind them. Obviously, amazing artwork, and of course, it came from an amazing set. Shining Victories, again, being a really, really great time in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. And again, this was like $100 plus card back in the day when it first dropped, and like many cards when they're brand new. And now it's sitting at barely like 6 bones, like 520 here, roughly around 6 bones for the opening market price, 5+ pages, so plenty of availability. Definitely something that eventually, not maybe playability, yeah, maybe, but more so for collectors with the history behind this and it just being a high rarity of Secret Rare. And Shining Victories is not getting any younger. A really, really great card to invest in for the long term, I believe. And one of the last things I want to talk about here is going to be Shaddolls. So I'm a little biased because I always kind of mix around, play around with Shaddolls. I like a lot of Shaddol engine variants. All around great stuff. Again, we're seeing some great predominance in the structure decks here. Funny enough, here at TCG Player, it looks like the unlimited prints are going higher than the first edition prints for the sealed structure decks. I don't know why. That's pretty crazy. I wouldn't really use TCG Player for a good gauge for sealed product. Their sealed product prices are a little funky, a little bit higher on this point. I think eBay was probably a little bit better. I personally get my sealed product from eBay or other alternative sites. I really just use TCG Player for singles. But what I'm really surprised at, besides obviously the amazing Ultimate Rare of Construct, this deck is incredibly cheap. Schism's a couple dollars here, but there's just a lot of high rarity stuff that's really, really cheap here. And this deck is just amazing. I really, really like this deck a lot, and everything is relatively really cheap. It's really incredible, and the engine is just amazing. It's a fan favorite deck, and again, I can just not give enough praise to the Shaddol engine, to the Shaddol core, and just the attribute or the archetype in general. It's just really, really fun. I think it's right up there with one of my favorite decks, kind of like Satellar Knights. Really been wanting to get into Burning Abyss. I've never personally piloted Burning Abyss, but I know a lot of people that are really big fanboys of it, and they've really enjoyed it a lot. And it's just from that really deep core era of Yu-Gi-Oh! A really good time. And it's just incredibly cheap. This is a really cheap deck core, and it's really fun. And of course, you got Invoke variants running around, and there's a lot of different people that like to kind of blend this. It is very splashable. It's a really fun deck. Also, Wendy has gone down incredibly. I was really surprised by that because this is still to the date the only way you can get it is through the structure deck as a super rare solo print. But moving on here, the very last thing that I wanted to mention was Lunalight. So I don't think that this is a meta-defining deck by any means. For a while, Panther was getting some hype. I think it went all the way up to like $8 or $7 or something. Sold most of mine off then. This is another deck that's just incredibly cheap. For a while, I'd seen like ups and downs with hypes. Really cool artwork. I love the artwork in this. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of like crazy high rarities. I think like the ultra rare is like the highest rarities. There's no big superstars for like fat rarities in this. But from what I can tell, I heard it was a really fun deck. Again, I've never personally piloted or built this deck, but I know there's a lot of people that really kind of follow this deck, really enjoy this deck a lot. I think once upon a time there was an OTK included in it or some kind of build, and it's slowly gotten a little small support here and there. And I mean, who doesn't like Beast Warrior, Fox looking wolf looking, crazy stuff here. So really, really cool, just kind of interesting decor that I just kind of wanted to review on the hindsight end of this video. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I hope you guys are making some amazing Yu-Gi-Oh investments yourself. Oh, what am I doing here? And I'm gonna be starting a website soon. I'm still very much in the process of making that. That is like very much in the works. I'm really excited about that. Yu-Gi-Oh has been part of my life for 2 decades. It's a great passion of mine. I think the friendship, the brotherhood, the investment aspect. There's so many great things that this game brings to the table. I really hope that you guys are enjoying this game as much as I am. I have Facebook. The link is going to be below. Message me anytime. I'm really looking to network and make friends and just talk about the in general. I'm so passionate about it. I think it's a really, really positive thing to have things that you love in life. And I'm just crazy about this game. So feel free, feedback, comments, whatever it may be. This has been a showcasing by the White Mexican, and I'll see you in the next video.